Hello, and welcome to the Jack of Clubs. I'm going to talk about your Venus card, your relationship style. But first, I have to cover a few details really quick. Go to itiskismet.com to get your full report. A lot of really good information in there. And you'll find all kinds of things on our website, like Cosmic Connections, where you can see what your planetary influences are with other people. And to the degree that I'm able, till I get like too busy and famous, I will look at your relationship and actually tune into it. So I'm not just giving you the planetary influences, I'll give you a little mini read on the relationship. Also, there is the kit, which is like a manual for life. There's a lot of stuff in there, including some really fun homework assignments. You can also find us on Facebook under Kismet Cards, and you can find me personally doing a lot of live readings, and sometimes I pull cards for individuals on my Facebook page, Paula Kruger. I will try to include those in all the links below. So let's get to the Jack of Clubs. Okay, so clubs represent knowledge or the mental plane, so they identify with the mind. And jacks are the youngest member of the royal family, so keep in mind what that means, like a sense of freedom, irresponsibility. They're free in a sense because they're not worried about survival and working. That's not to say they don't have jobs, but they just have this attitude of levity and fun, opportunity, creativity. Jack of clubs are particularly brilliant, and they can also be really emotionally immature. So, anyway, that's a little bit about them in general. An ego expression, so I do ego and essence. So the ego expression is that they can be kind of snipey and cynical. They can be flippant, kind of like, I don't know, like you imagine the youngest member of a royal family where everyone's really smart. And so, like, just think of them as kind of an arrogant Ivy League, looking down on other people. They can also just be emotionally immature, which just kind of wraps up a lot, like not wanting to take responsibility for their own emotional work and their own stuff. They're also a little impulsive and careless. Okay, on the upside, they're really funny. They're fun to be with. They know how to detach and kind of look at everything from the outside and laugh at it. Their card is Uranus Venus. And if you want to go into a study of that, that says a lot right there. But most of their hand is in the Uranus line, which gives them, kind of a sense of detachment and distance. So the question is kind of, are they going to be detached, or are they just going to be like objective but still involved? Because Uranus is the humanitarian as well. So that's kind of the polarity they deal with. So yes, they're brilliant, original, witty, romantic, carefree, brave, and paradigm shifting. So let's talk about the relationship style. Okay, so we talk about the Venus card. Everyone has about 13 cards in their hand, and each card tells you about an aspect of them. So the Venus card tells you about your relationship style, love, friendship, what brings you a sense of calm, ease, and pleasure, and also what kind of women can show up in your life, or what your feminine expression is, your Venus archetype. Okay, so they have the Seven of Spades in Venus. So this actually brings out quite a serious side to them. So when we talk about the Queen and the King of Clubs, so these royal archetypes are all really important, because if you're a club, you're going to be using each one of them in different aspects of your life. The Jack is the inner child, and I just wanted to point this out because I have two kids. One is a diamond, one is a club. And when my club was really little, there was this, and here's the kind of funny twist in here. The Jack of clubs of all these can be very serious and self-righteous and calling you on the carpet when you're not doing it right. Like, my little club child would be, not that she said this directly, but she would have been one to say, why aren't we recycling? You should recycle that. And kind of the you should. And it's not just you should be a certain way, but you should do a certain way, because it's a spade. Spades are all about making it real. They're also incredibly sensitive. So you can expect a Jack of clubs, or someone who is acting out of their Jack, which is most men, clubs, sorry to say, because clubs represent the adolescent phase of life. Hearts are children, clubs are adolescents, diamonds are adults, spades are sages. So most club males tend to identify with this Jack of Clubs. It's a very universal and pervasive energy in our culture because there are a lot of club males. So they can be kind of self-righteous and calling you on the carpet, which is a good thing too, because they can really lift you to a higher standard, but they can also be highly sensitive. And that is such a double-edged sword, and that was definitely my club child. I've never even realized this before, but yeah, there's this incredible, ouch, they're very sensitive to, disapproval and especially words. Um, and they're also very strong and directive in their sense of authority about, like, preach it. How should it be? The Seven of Spades also brings a dimension of depth and spirituality into the relationship, as well as an appreciation for the ideal. So when the ego has charge of this, idealism can be legalism or, I don't know, religiosity. But when the essence is expressing the ideal, it can be something like art or to aspire to something, an appreciation of art. I dated a lot of Jack of Clubs, and they're very appreciative of beauty on all levels. Okay, so what else? They have a tendency to condemn ideological differences. They have sometimes a sense of superiority. Therefore, there is a pressure for close friends to adhere to the same doctrine and practice. I'm just thinking of all the club men I've been with. It's true of some of them, but not all of them. There's so many influences. So anyway, commitment to right practices and the ideal. Therefore, integrity compels. It's good. It's an integrity card. Under the Seven of Spades is the King of Diamonds, which is the master of values, or integrity is a better way to think of that. Let's see. Integrity compels or figures in there somewhere, reading my notes, at times at odds with the immaturity. So there will seem like a real kind of paradox going on in them. They can seem really irresponsible at times, but they can also be very championing of what ought to happen. So I think they can probably turn that judgment that comes from that seven in on themselves a lot, or on their friends and partners. That's a sticky thing when they do that. That's part of their not being able to own it. They're highly sensitive to what ought to be true. They need to turn the mirror on themselves and also soften that with compassion. Nobody's perfect. Hello? Okay, but we all gotta live together. All right, so often close friends are spiritual in nature, so that Venus card will tell you who you're attracted to as a friend. They're attracted to spirituality and depth, and yet action-based. People who are willing to take action, because it's a spade. There's a need for doing stuff together, not just talking about it. They have a wonderful capacity for compassion and depth. That's the more spiritual side of the seven. Okay, so in relationships, especially with women, there will be some pressure to be perfect on the woman, to do it right. Who is more righteous? It's an opportunity to let go of attachments to perfection. I'm a seven. I get this whole perfection thing. Perfection is a verb. Keep that in mind, to perfect something. So at the end here, I talk about the Royal Archetypes. So if you are a club, you can be operating out of your Jack, your Queen, or your King. The Jack represents the inner child when you are creative and when you are forging ahead with a new kind of idea, a new paradigm. So Oprah Winfrey is a Jack of Clubs. A lot of very prominent thinkers are Jack of Clubs. So you can also be operating out of your Queen or your King. So if you are a Jack of Clubs in particular, I just want to emphasize to you that's not your only relationship style. You also have the Queen and the King. The Queen is when you're nurturing, mothering, or just one-on-one with somebody in a helping capacity. And that aspect is actually very fun, adventurous, and lighthearted, liking variety. So they make really great teachers because they know how to bring this in, and that actually comes from their Queen, from their feminine side. The King is more security-oriented, making you safe, being tender-hearted, coming from the heart. So actually clubs have, if they can bring in all three of their archetypes, they have a very balanced approach to relationship. So kudos to all you clubs out there. I just love you. So remember to like, subscribe, and share, and check all the links below. Go to itiskismet.com. Bye.